If you enjoyed this audiobook, please consider liking, sharing, and subscribing to the channel. Sharing it with your friends and family helps spread knowledge, and when we help others grow, we grow too. Thank you so much for listening. Let's dive into the audiobook. Chapter 1, Your Money Story Begins. Part 1, Why Your Money Mindset Matters. When Sandra Watkins finally opened her credit card statement after avoiding it for 3 months, she discovered she owed $47,000. The marketing executive from Denver had convinced herself that ignoring the debt would somehow make it disappear. This magical thinking cost her thousands in additional interest and damaged her credit score for years. Sandra's story illustrates a fundamental truth about money management that financial experts have recognized for decades. Your relationship with money operates far beyond spreadsheets and calculators. Research from behavioral economist Daniel Kahneman shows that financial decisions stem from deep psychological patterns, many formed during childhood. These mental frameworks determine whether you build wealth or struggle paycheck to paycheck. Consider how Warren Buffett's father, Howard, taught him about compound interest at age 7 using actual stock purchases. This early positive exposure shaped Buffett's patient investment approach. Contrast this with someone who watched parents argue constantly about money. That person might avoid financial discussions entirely, missing opportunities to negotiate salaries or seek better investment returns. Thomas Stanley's research for the Millionaire Next Door revealed that wealthy Americans shared specific mindset characteristics. They viewed money as a tool for security and freedom rather than status. They made decisions based on long-term consequences instead of immediate gratification. Most importantly, they maintained what Stanley called economic discipline, even when income increased. Your brain processes money decisions through emotional centers first, then rational ones. This explains why intelligent people make seemingly irrational financial choices. A Harvard Business School study tracked MBA graduates for 20 years and found that those who regularly examined their money beliefs accumulated significantly more wealth than equally educated peers who focused solely on investment strategies. Fear-based thinking creates particularly destructive patterns. Sarah Wilson, a teacher from Portland, kept $50,000 in savings accounts, earning 0.1% interest because she feared stock market volatility. Meanwhile, inflation steadily eroded her purchasing power. Her fear of losing money guaranteed she would lose money through inflation. Overconfidence proves equally damaging. Day trader Mark Cuban lost $1.6 million in his 20s because he believed he could outsmart professional investors. This expensive lesson taught him humility about market predictions and led to more disciplined investment approaches that built his eventual fortune. Scarcity mindset manifests in hoarding behaviors or extreme frugality that prevents wealth building. Abundance thinking, conversely, recognizes opportunities for growth and calculated risks. Dave Ramsey emphasizes this shift in helping people move from survival mode to wealth accumulation. Your money story begins with honest self-examination. What messages did you receive about money growing up? Do you view it as scarce or abundant? Understanding these patterns allows you to consciously choose different responses. Financial success requires aligning your daily actions with your deeper values and long-term vision. The transformation starts when you recognize that money represents choices, security, and freedom, rather than just numbers in accounts. Part 2. Discover what you really want. When Sarah finally sat down to examine her finances at age 32, she discovered something shocking. Despite earning a 6-figure salary as a marketing director, she felt perpetually anxious about money. Her savings account barely covered 2 months of expenses, yet her closet overflowed with designer clothes. The disconnect between her income and her peace of mind revealed a fundamental truth. She had never actually defined what financial success meant to her personally. Most people chase financial goals that sound impressive but feel hollow, They aim for arbitrary numbers like $1 million or copy what successful people around them are doing. Yet research from Your Money or Your Life shows that people who achieve lasting financial satisfaction first identify their authentic values and life vision. Without this foundation, even substantial wealth can leave you feeling unfulfilled and stressed. Consider Warren Buffett, who still lives in the same modest Omaha home he bought in 1958 for $31,500. His definition of wealth centers on freedom and security rather than luxury displays. This clarity has guided every financial decision throughout his career. Similarly, when Vicki Robin co-authored her groundbreaking book, she discovered that her true desire wasn't more money, but more time to pursue meaningful work and relationships. The key lies in distinguishing between surface-level wants and deeper needs. Surface wants might include a luxury car or expensive vacation. Deeper needs often center on security, freedom, family provision, or contribution to causes you care about. Dave Ramsey frequently shares stories of couples who thought they wanted bigger houses, but realized they actually craved the security of being debt-free. Start by asking yourself specific questions about different life scenarios. What would you do if money were no object? What keeps you awake at night, worrying about your financial future? When do you feel most generous, and what does that reveal about your values? These questions help identify your authentic financial priorities. J.L. Collins suggests imagining your ideal day 5 years from now. Are you working by choice or necessity? Where do you live? How do you spend your time? Your answers reveal whether you're seeking geographic freedom, career flexibility, early retirement, or simply peace of mind. The Millionaire Next Door research revealed that most wealthy individuals share common underlying motivations. They value security over status, prefer financial independence to impressive possessions, and often want to provide opportunities for their children. Their spending aligns with these deeper values rather than external expectations. Once you identify your authentic financial desires, every subsequent decision becomes clearer. Sarah eventually realized she valued security and creative freedom over luxury goods. This insight transformed her approach to money, leading her to prioritize debt elimination and building an emergency fund over designer purchases. Her anxiety decreased as her actions finally aligned with her true priorities. Your money goals must reflect your personal definition of financial freedom, not society's expectations or your neighbor's choices. Part 3. The Power of Everyday Choices. When Dave Ramsey analyzed the spending habits of thousands of families who successfully eliminated their debt, he discovered something remarkable. The difference between financial success and struggle wasn't found in their big purchase decisions, but in the accumulation of countless tiny choices made every single day. Consider Maria, a teacher from Austin, who transformed her financial life, not through a dramatic salary increase or inheritance, but by questioning every daily purchase for 30 days. Her morning latte habit cost $1,460 annually. Her impulse grocery additions averaged $23 per visit. These seemingly insignificant decisions were quietly redirecting thousands from her future self to momentary pleasures. The fascinating research from the Millionaire Next Door reveals that wealthy individuals think differently about everyday spending. They ask themselves a simple question before each purchase. Will this help me or hurt me financially 5 years from now? This mental filter transforms routine decisions into wealth-building opportunities. J.L. Collins describes this phenomenon perfectly. Your daily choices are votes for the type of person you want to become. Each time you choose to save instead of spend, you're voting for financial freedom. When you opt for a home-cooked meal over takeout, you're casting a ballot for your future security. Tiffany Aliche discovered this principle while helping her clients. She noticed that people who focused obsessively on big financial moves while ignoring daily habits consistently failed to build wealth. Meanwhile, those who automated small, consistent behaviors achieved remarkable results. One client, James, saved $127,000 in 7 years simply by redirecting his daily convenience store purchases into an automatic investment account. The compound effect works in both directions. Morgan Housel's research shows that small financial leaks can devastate long-term wealth just as powerfully as small surpluses can create it. A $15 daily miscellaneous spending habit costs $67,500 over 10 years when you factor in lost investment growth. What makes everyday choices so powerful is their invisibility. Unlike major purchases that demand careful consideration, daily spending often happens on autopilot. Ramit Sethi calls this decision fatigue spending, the unconscious financial choices we make when our mental energy is depleted. The solution involves what Vicki Robin terms conscious spending. This doesn't mean depriving yourself of every small pleasure. Instead, it means deliberately aligning your daily financial choices with your deeper values and long-term goals. Start by tracking every expense for 1 week without judgment. This awareness alone often shifts behavior. Then, identify which daily habits serve your future self and which ones don't. The goal isn't perfection. It's progress through intentional, value-aligned choices that compound over time into financial transformation. Part 4. Building trust with your future self. Every dollar you spend today is essentially a letter to your future self. Stanford researcher Hal Hershfield discovered that people who feel more connected to their future selves make better financial decisions, save more money, and experience less financial regret. Yet most of us struggle to see that person clearly, the one who will either thank us or resent us for the choices we make right now. Think of your relationship with your future self like any meaningful partnership. It requires trust, communication, and mutual respect. Morgan Housel observed that financial success often comes down to treating your future self as well as you'd treat your closest friend. This isn't abstract philosophy, it's practical psychology with measurable results. Start by making your future self vivid and real. Hirschfield's studies showed that participants who viewed age-progressed photos of themselves saved twice as much for retirement compared to control groups. While you don't need sophisticated technology, you can create mental clarity. Imagine yourself in 10 years. What does a typical day look like? Where do you live? What worries keep you awake at night, and what brings you peace? Dave Ramsey frequently tells the story of meeting millionaires who describe their younger selves as financial partners rather than separate people. They made spending decisions by asking, "Would I do this to my best friend?" This simple reframe transforms impulse purchases into conscious choices. Create regular check-ins with your future self through what behavioral economists call prospective memory cues. Write yourself letters to open in 6 months. Set calendar reminders with specific questions. Are you still happy about that streaming service subscription? Or, how did that emergency fund serve you this year? These touchpoints maintain the relationship when immediate desires threaten long-term goals. J.L. Collins advocates for what he calls future self-gratitude practice. Before any significant purchase, pause and consider whether your future self will feel grateful or resentful about this choice. A quality winter coat? Likely gratitude. Another gadget gathering dust? Probably resentment. The compound effect works both ways. Small acts of kindness toward your future self, automatically transferring $50 to savings, choosing the generic brand, packing lunch instead of ordering delivery, create momentum and build trust. Your future self begins to feel supported, making it easier to delay gratification because you know someone has your back. Gene Chatsky discovered that people who regularly visualize their future financial life are 42% more likely to achieve their goals. They've created a relationship based on mutual care rather than conflict. When your present and future selves are aligned as partners, money stress naturally decreases because every financial choice becomes an act of friendship rather than sacrifice. This partnership transforms financial discipline from willpower into relationship maintenance, a far more sustainable foundation for lasting change. Chapter 2, The Roadmap to Financial Freedom, Part 1, Setting Clear, Simple Goals That Stick. When researchers at Dominican University studied 267 participants, they discovered something remarkable. People who wrote down specific goals were 42% more likely to achieve them than those who kept vague intentions in their heads. This finding transforms how we approach financial planning, proving that clarity beats wishful thinking every time. The difference between "I want to save money" and "I will save $5,000 for an emergency fund by December 31st by automatically transferring $417 each month" isn't just semantic. The second statement creates what psychologists call implementation intention, a mental blueprint that guides daily decisions. Dave Ramsey built his entire financial empire on this principle, watching millions of people transform their lives by writing down specific debt payoff amounts and target dates. Consider Sarah, a teacher from Ohio who appeared on Ramit Sethi's podcast in 2019. Her original goal was get better with money. After rewriting it as pay off $23,000 in credit card debt within 18 months using the debt avalanche method, she eliminated her debt 2 months ahead of schedule. The specificity created urgency and made every spending decision clearer. Effective financial goals follow what researchers call the SMART framework, but with a crucial twist. While traditional advice suggests goals must be rigid, real life demands flexibility. J.L. Collins, author of The Simple Path to Wealth, advocates for what he terms flexible specificity. You might aim to invest $500 monthly in index funds, but life happens. The key is maintaining the core intention while adjusting tactics. The psychology behind this approach runs deeper than simple organization. When Vicki Robin developed her 9-step program for Your Money or Your Life, she discovered that people needed emotional connection to their numbers. Goals that link to personal values create what she calls life energy awareness. Instead of saving for retirement, you're saving for freedom to spend mornings with grandchildren. Timeline specificity matters enormously. Thomas Stanley's research on Millionaires revealed they consistently set both short-term stepping stones and long-term destinations. A typical wealthy individual might target a 6-month emergency fund by year-end, while simultaneously planning for financial independence in 15 years. These dual timelines create momentum without sacrificing long-term vision. The most successful goal setters also build in regular review periods. Gene Chatsky recommends monthly check-ins, treating goals like living documents rather than carved stone. This practice prevents the common trap of abandoning goals when circumstances shift, instead teaching adaptation skills that serve financial growth throughout life. Remember that perfect goals don't exist, but clear ones do. Start with specific amounts, deadlines, and methods. Write them down. Review them monthly. Adjust when necessary, but never abandon the underlying intention to improve your financial position. Part 2. Baby Steps Toward Big Dreams. When Dave Ramsey helped his first caller pay off $127,000 in debt, using what seemed impossible, $7 at a time, he discovered something profound about human psychology. The magic wasn't in the math, but in the momentum. Breaking overwhelming financial mountains into walkable steps transforms paralyzing dreams into achievable realities, one small victory at a time. The most successful wealth builders don't start by tackling everything at once. Instead, they follow a proven sequence that builds both financial strength and psychological confidence. Dave Ramsey's Baby Steps program has guided millions through this exact process, and the results speak volumes. His first step? Save $1,000 for emergencies. Not $10,000, just $1,000. This approach might seem too small to matter, but research from behavioral economists shows why it works brilliantly. Each completed step releases dopamine, the brain's reward chemical, creating positive associations with financial progress. Ramit Sethi discovered this when tracking his students' success rates. Those who started with manageable goals were 73% more likely to continue their financial journey after 6 months. The sequence matters tremendously. Trying to invest while carrying high-interest credit card debt makes no mathematical sense, yet many people attempt exactly this approach. Thomas Stanley's research on millionaires revealed they almost universally eliminated debt before building wealth. This isn't just about numbers, it's about focus and psychological bandwidth. Consider the story of Maria, a teacher from Phoenix who followed this step-by-step approach. She started with the emergency fund, saving $50 monthly for 20 months. Once that safety net existed, she attacked her $23,000 in student loans using the debt snowball method. Each paid-off loan freed up more money for the next step. Within 4 years, she was investing 15% of her income. The key? She never tried to do everything simultaneously. The beauty of incremental progress lies in compound confidence. Each small win builds belief in your ability to achieve larger goals. Vicky Robin and Joe Dominguez call this financial fitness. Like physical exercise, consistency matters more than intensity. Missing one workout won't derail fitness goals, but skipping months will. J.L. Collins emphasizes celebrating these incremental victories. When his daughter paid off her first credit card, they marked the occasion with a special dinner. These celebrations aren't frivolous. They're strategic reinforcement of positive financial behaviors. The most common mistake people make is perfectionism. They wait for the perfect moment to start or abandon their plan after one setback. Tiffany Alici watched clients restart their financial journeys dozens of times before learning this truth. Progress beats perfection every time. Your brain craves completion. By breaking large financial goals into smaller, achievable steps, you work with your psychology rather than against it. Each step completed builds momentum for the next. Each small victory proves that bigger dreams are possible. The question isn't whether you can transform your financial life. It's simply which step you'll take first. Part 3. Budgeting without the boring stuff. When Sarah Michaels started tracking her spending, she discovered she was hemorrhaging $400 monthly on subscriptions she'd forgotten about and impulse coffee runs that added up to mortgage payment proportions. This shocking reality led her to create what she calls a values-based spending plan that helped her save $50,000 in 2 years while still enjoying lattes twice a week. Most people think budgeting means deprivation, but research from behavioral economist Dan Ariely shows the opposite is true. The most successful budgeters spend more on things they value and ruthlessly cut everything else. This isn't about penny-pinching every expense. It's about directing your money toward what matters most to you. Traditional budgets fail because they fight human nature. Ramit Sethi discovered this when studying why 90% of people abandon detailed budget spreadsheets within 3 months. The problem isn't willpower. It's that complex tracking systems create friction where you need flow. Instead of monitoring 40 spending categories, focus on just 4: fixed costs, savings, guilt-free spending, and everything else. The 50-30-20 rule offers a simple framework that actually works. Senator Elizabeth Warren popularized this approach: 50% for needs, 30% for wants, 20% for savings and debt repayment. But here's the twist successful budgeters use. They flip the traditional approach. They pay themselves first by automating savings, then spend what remains. This psychological shift transforms budgeting from restriction to permission. Consider how Tiffany Alici helped thousands of clients by introducing the percentage-based budgeting method. Instead of tracking exact dollars, you work with percentages of income. When your salary changes, your budget scales automatically. No recalculating, no starting over. This flexibility prevents the all-or-nothing thinking that destroys most budgeting attempts. Automation removes decision fatigue from the equation. Set up automatic transfers for savings and bill payments. Then use a separate checking account for discretionary spending. When that account hits zero, You're done spending for the month. This envelope method works digitally without the hassle of managing physical cash. The most liberating budgeting insight comes from recognizing that perfect tracking isn't the goal. Progress is. Dave Ramsey's research shows people who budget imperfectly but consistently outperform perfectionist budgeters by 300% in wealth accumulation. Your budget should evolve with your life, not constrain it. Start by identifying your top 3 financial priorities this month. Maybe it's building a $1,000 emergency fund, paying an extra $200 toward debt, or saving for a vacation. Allocate money to these priorities first. Automate what you can. Then spend the remainder guilt-free. This approach transforms budgeting from a monthly chore into a weekly check-in that takes 5 minutes. The goal isn't to track every penny forever. It's to develop spending awareness that becomes second nature. Once you understand your money patterns, budgeting becomes as automatic as checking the weather before getting dressed. Part 4. Cutting through debt like a pro. When Oprah Winfrey revealed she once owed $50,000 in back taxes while earning millions, she exposed a truth most people whisper about privately. Debt doesn't discriminate by income level. Her financial advisor forced her to confront the reality that debt creates a psychological weight that affects every decision, regardless of how much money flows in. Debt operates like quicksand. The more you struggle without a plan, the deeper you sink. Americans collectively owe $1.1 trillion in credit card debt, with the average household carrying $6,194 across multiple cards. Yet the most successful debt elimination stories share a common thread. They treated debt payoff as a strategic game rather than a source of shame. The debt snowball method, popularized by financial expert Dave Ramsey, attacks your smallest balances first. When Sarah, a Denver teacher, started with $47,000 across 7 credit cards, she ignored interest rates completely. She paid minimums on everything except her smallest $800 balance, throwing every extra dollar at it. The psychological victory of eliminating that first card created momentum that carried her through the remaining 6 cards in 18 months. Mathematics tells a different story through the debt avalanche approach. This method targets highest interest debt first, potentially saving thousands in interest payments. Financial advisor Ramit Sethi advocates this strategy for people motivated by spreadsheets rather than emotions. A software engineer in Austin saved $3,200 in interest by tackling his 24.9% credit card before his 6.8% student loan, despite the student loan being smaller. The choice between snowball and avalanche reveals something crucial about human psychology and money. Research from Northwestern's Kellogg School showed that people using the snowball method were 40% more likely to eliminate all debt completely. The quick wins create a neurological reward pattern that sustains long-term behavior change. Beyond method selection lies the deeper work of addressing why debt accumulated. Most debt stems from 3 sources: unexpected emergencies without savings, lifestyle inflation after income increases, or using credit to bridge the gap between desired and actual lifestyle. Credit card companies understand this psychology perfectly, sending pre-approved increases right after you pay down balances. Creating debt elimination momentum requires treating every payment like a business transaction rather than an emotional burden. Set up automatic payments for more than minimums. Redirect any windfalls immediately to debt, and celebrate each milestone with free activities rather than purchases. The goal isn't just becoming debt-free, it's developing the money management skills that prevent future debt cycles. Once debt disappears, the monthly payments that previously went to creditors become your wealth-building ammunition. That same discipline that eliminated debt transforms into investment contributions that compound over decades, turning your former burden into your future freedom. Chapter 3. Growing Your Wealth Garden, Part 1. Investing Made Easy and Friendly. When Warren Buffett started investing at age 11, he bought 3 shares of Citi Service stock for $38 each. Within months, the price dropped to $27, teaching him a crucial lesson about patience. Today, that same mindset has made him one of the world's wealthiest individuals through simple, consistent investing principles anyone can follow. Think of investing like planting a garden rather than gambling at a casino. Sarah, a 25-year-old teacher from Ohio, started with just $50 monthly into a target date fund. She worried about market crashes and complex strategies, but kept things simple. 20 years later, her small contributions grew to over $180,000, proving that consistency beats complexity every time. The magic happens through compound growth, which Albert Einstein allegedly called the eighth wonder of the world. When you invest $100 and earn 7% annually, you don't just earn $7. Next year, you earn 7% on $107, then 7% on $114.49, and so on. Your money literally makes money on the money it already made. This exponential growth explains why starting early matters more than investing large amounts later. John Bogle, founder of Vanguard, revolutionized investing by creating the first index fund in 1975. His idea was brilliantly simple. Instead of trying to beat the market, just buy the whole market through low-cost funds. Today, these funds consistently outperform 90% of actively managed funds over long periods. You're essentially hiring the entire U.S. economy to work for you. Diversification works like insurance for your investments. Rather than putting all your money in one company's stock, spread it across thousands of companies through index funds. When Tesla stock drops 30%, your portfolio barely notices because it's balanced with healthcare, utilities, consumer goods, and international companies. This approach protects you from the inevitable ups and downs of individual businesses. The beauty of modern investing lies in automation. David Back's latte factor isn't about skipping coffee. It's about automatically investing small amounts before you can spend them elsewhere. Set up automatic transfers of $100 monthly into a diversified fund, and you'll barely notice the money leaving your account. Meanwhile, it's working 24/7 to build your future wealth. Starting with target date funds eliminates guesswork entirely. These funds automatically adjust their risk level as you approach retirement, becoming more conservative over time. A 2060 target date fund starts aggressive with 90% stocks, then gradually shifts toward bonds as you near retirement. It's like having a professional investment manager for the cost of a monthly Netflix subscription. The key insight that transforms nervous beginners into confident investors is understanding that time in the market beats timing the market. Every major wealthy family, from the Rockefellers to modern billionaires, built their fortunes through patient, long-term investing rather than quick schemes or perfect timing. Part 2. Why patience pays off. When Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway lost 37% of its value in 2008, the Oracle of Omaha didn't panic sell or chase quick fixes. Instead, he bought more stocks at discounted prices, demonstrating a wealth-building principle that separates financial winners from those who stay stuck. True wealth grows in the waiting room, not the emergency room. The investing world loves to sell you on urgency. Day trading apps promise instant riches. Financial news networks breathlessly report every market hiccup as breaking news. Your neighbor brags about doubling their money on the latest cryptocurrency. Meanwhile, the real wealth builders quietly accumulate shares month after month, year after year, regardless of market mood swings. Consider the stark reality behind market timing attempts. Dalbar's annual study consistently shows that average investors earn significantly less than the markets they invest in. In 2022, while the S&P 500 returned negative 18.1% during a difficult year, the average equity investor lost 23.4%. Why? They bought high when optimism peaked and sold low when fear dominated. This emotional whiplash destroys more wealth than market crashes ever could. The mathematics of patience reveal why discipline matters more than intelligence. A $500 monthly investment in an S&P 500 index fund would have grown to over $1.2 million over 30 years, assuming historical returns. But here's the catch. You had to stay invested through the dot-com crash of 2000, the financial crisis of 2008, and the COVID-19 panic of 2020. Those who fled during scary headlines missed the subsequent recoveries that created the bulk of long-term gains. Market volatility isn't your enemy. It's your wealth-building partner. When prices swing wildly, you're buying more shares when they're cheap and fewer when they're expensive through dollar-cost averaging. This mechanical approach removes emotion from the equation. You don't need to predict whether next month brings boom or bust. You just need to show up consistently. The wealthy understand something most people miss. Boring investments create exciting lifestyles. John Bogle, founder of Vanguard, built his fortune not through spectacular trades, but through patient ownership of broad market index funds. His approach was so simple, it seemed almost naive, yet it outperformed the vast majority of professional money managers over decades. Your biggest investment challenge isn't picking the right stocks or timing the market perfectly. It's managing the person in the mirror who wants to do something, when the smartest move is often doing nothing at all. When markets crash, your patient capital is buying assets at fire sale prices. When markets soar, your steady contributions are locking in gains. This consistency, maintained through all seasons, transforms ordinary people into extraordinary wealth builders. The path to financial security runs straight through the valley of patience, where steady contributors flourish while market timers stumble. Part 3. Make your money work while you sleep. When Warren Buffett was asked about his investment strategy, he famously said he tries to buy businesses so wonderful that an idiot can run them because sooner or later one will. This philosophy captures the essence of passive wealth building, creating systems so robust they practically run themselves. The most successful wealth builders understand that money grows best when left undisturbed. Consider the case of Grace Groner, a secretary who died in 2010 worth $7 million. She achieved this not through stock picking or timing markets, but by purchasing $180 worth of Abbott Laboratories stock in 1935 and reinvesting dividends for 75 years. Her money worked tirelessly while she lived a simple life, never earning more than modest wages. This principle applies through index fund investing, where your money automatically buys shares of hundreds of companies. The Vanguard Total Stock Market Index, for example, has delivered average annual returns of roughly 10% over decades, requiring zero daily decisions from investors. Your contributions flow in monthly, purchase shares at whatever price exists, and compound relentlessly. Dividend investing offers another path, where companies literally pay you to own their stock. Johnson & Johnson has increased its dividend payments for 59 consecutive years. Coca-Cola has done so for 60 years. These payments arrive quarterly, providing income that grows faster than inflation without selling a single share. Automation transforms good intentions into wealth-building reality. David Bach, author of The Automatic Millionaire, documented how couples earning average incomes became millionaires by automatically investing just $3,000 annually. They never felt the money leave their accounts because it happened before they could spend it elsewhere. The key lies in setting percentages rather than dollar amounts. When you automatically invest 15% of income, raises naturally increase your investment contributions. A promotion from $50,000 to $60,000 annually means an extra $1,500 working for your future self without conscious effort. Real estate investment trusts provide property exposure without landlord responsibilities. Through REITs, your money owns pieces of office buildings, apartments, and shopping centers across the country. Monthly distributions arrive, while professional managers handle maintenance calls at midnight. Target date funds simplify everything further by automatically adjusting risk levels as you age. A 2065 target date fund gradually shifts from growth-focused stocks towards stability-focused bonds as retirement approaches, requiring zero portfolio management from you. The magic emerges from patience and consistency rather than complexity. While others chase investment trends or debate market timing, your automated systems accumulate wealth through bull markets and bear markets alike. Your money works 3 shifts daily across global markets, compounding while you sleep, vacation, or focus on life's other priorities. Building wealth this way feels almost boring, which paradoxically makes it extraordinarily effective. The most successful investors often describe their strategies as simple and repetitive rather than exciting or clever. Part 4. Avoiding the most common pitfalls. When David Chen started investing in 2019, he felt confident about his research abilities. After all, he had successfully managed complex projects at his engineering job for years. Yet within 6 months, he had lost 40% of his initial investment by chasing hot cryptocurrency tips, panic selling during a market downturn, and switching investment platforms twice to chase lower fees that were actually lower. David's experience illustrates the most expensive lesson in wealth building. Smart people make predictably dumb money mistakes. The difference between successful and struggling investors isn't intelligence or luck. It's avoiding a handful of costly behavioral traps that derail even the most well-intentioned financial plans. The biggest wealth killer lurks in your emotions during market volatility. When the S&P 500 dropped 34% between February and March 2020, Fidelity analyzed investor behavior and found a startling pattern. Accounts that had no activity during this period, meaning investors did absolutely nothing, outperformed accounts with frequent trading by an average of 3% annually. The investors who sold during the panic locked in permanent losses while missing the subsequent recovery that brought markets to new highs by year's end. Consider this psychological reality. Your brain interprets investment losses as physical pain. Neuroscientist studies using MRI scans show that losing money activates the same brain regions as physical injury. This explains why watching your portfolio drop feels genuinely awful and why your instinct screams to stop the bleeding by selling. Successful investors recognize these feelings as normal but resist acting on them. High fees represent another silent wealth destroyer that compounds against you over decades. A seemingly modest 1.5% annual management fee costs you approximately $30,000 on a $100,000 investment over 20 years, compared to a 0.1% index fund fee. Charles Schwab's 2022 study revealed that investors in high-fee, actively managed funds underperformed low-cost index funds by 1.8% annually over 10 years, largely due to fees and frequent trading costs. The financial media creates another trap by making boring success seem inadequate. CNBC doesn't run segments titled "Local Teacher Contributes $500 Monthly to Index Fund for 30th Consecutive Year." Yet this behavior creates more millionaires than dramatic stock picks ever will. Warren Buffett's famous bet against hedge fund managers proved this point definitively. His simple S&P 500 index fund choice beat a collection of expensive hedge funds over 10 years, earning 7.1% annually versus their 2.2%. Trend chasing destroys wealth through terrible timing. When GameStop dominated headlines in 2021, retail investors poured money into meme stocks after prices had already soared. Most bought high and sold low, learning expensive lessons about following crowds. Historical data shows that investors consistently buy into asset classes after strong performance and sell after poor performance, the exact opposite of profitable behavior. The antidote involves radical simplicity. Successful investors develop systems that remove emotion from decisions. They automate investments, ignore daily market noise, choose low-cost funds, and maintain consistent contributions regardless of headlines. This approach feels boring compared to stock-picking excitement, but boring builds wealth while exciting often destroys it. Your wealth garden grows through protection as much as cultivation. Guard against these common mistakes, and your automated systems can work undisturbed while compound growth does the heavy lifting over time. Chapter 4. Habits for a Richer Life. Part 1. How Millionaires Think Differently. When Warren Buffett was asked about his success, he pointed to a simple habit: reading 500 pages every day. While most people checked stock prices obsessively, the world's most successful investor spent his time learning. This fundamental difference in daily behavior separates those who build lasting wealth from those who remain financially stressed. Thomas Stanley's groundbreaking research in The Millionaire Next Door revealed something shocking about America's wealthy. They weren't driving luxury cars or living in mansions. Instead, 80% of millionaires were first-generation wealthy, meaning they built their fortunes from scratch through specific thinking patterns and daily practices that anyone can adopt. The most striking difference lies in how wealthy individuals view money itself. While average earners see money as something to spend, millionaires view it as a tool that works for them. Take John Bogle, founder of Vanguard, who revolutionized investing by focusing on long-term compound growth rather than quick profits. His approach generated billions for investors because he understood that wealth building requires patience, not speed. Successful wealth builders practice what psychologists call delayed gratification in ways that might surprise you. Dave Ramsey discovered this when he interviewed thousands of millionaires for his research. They consistently chose boring investments over exciting ones, drove reliable cars instead of flashy ones, and lived below their means even after becoming wealthy. One millionaire told Ramsey he still used coupons at the grocery store, not from necessity, but because the habit of conscious spending had become automatic. Perhaps most importantly, wealthy individuals treat learning as a non-negotiable daily practice. Ray Dalio, founder of Bridgewater Associates, credits his success to what he calls radical transparency, constantly seeking information that challenges his assumptions. This hunger for knowledge extends beyond finance into understanding human psychology, market history, and economic principles. The wealthy also reframe risk entirely. While most people fear losing money, successful investors fear missing opportunities for growth. Benjamin Graham taught this principle to Warren Buffett. True risk comes from not understanding what you're investing in, not from market volatility itself. This mindset shift allows them to invest consistently during market downturns when others panic and sell. What makes these habits particularly powerful is their compound effect over time. Vicki Robbins' research in Your Money or Your Life showed that small, consistent behaviors create dramatic results. A person who invests $200 monthly starting at age 25 will have significantly more wealth at retirement than someone who invests $500 monthly starting at age 35, purely due to time and consistency. The transformation begins with adopting just one wealthy habit and building from there. Choose learning, delayed gratification, or consistent investing as your starting point. And watch how this single change begins shifting your entire relationship with money. Part 2. Aligning spending with your values. When Michelle Obama was First Lady, she revealed something surprising about her family's spending habits. Despite their prominent status, the Obamas still clipped coupons and shopped sales at Target. This wasn't about necessity. It was about staying true to their values and teaching their daughters that every dollar should serve a purpose. Most people spend money reactively, buying what catches their eye or following social pressure. But research from Harvard Business School shows that people who align their spending with their personal values report 23% higher life satisfaction than those who don't. The key lies in getting intentional about where your money goes. Start by identifying what truly matters to you. Ramit Sethi calls this finding your money dials, the areas where you want to spend freely because they bring genuine joy. Maybe you value experiences over possessions, family time over status symbols, or education over entertainment. Sarah, a teacher from Portland, discovered she was spending $400 monthly on clothes she rarely wore, but felt guilty buying books for her classroom. Once she realigned her spending, she cut her clothing budget to $100 and increased her book purchases. Her students benefited, and she felt more fulfilled. The next step involves brutal honesty about your current spending. Track every expense for 2 weeks without judgment. You'll likely find surprising patterns. Dave Ramsey's research shows that most people underestimate their spending by 20 to 30%. One client discovered she spent $180 monthly on subscription services she'd forgotten about, money that could have gone toward her goal of visiting her elderly parents more often. Create a values audit by categorizing each expense. Does this purchase support what I care about most? A $5 coffee might align with your value of productivity if it fuels your best work, but daily takeout might not support your health goals. The Millionaire Next Door study found that wealthy individuals consistently ask themselves whether purchases move them closer to or further from their priorities. This approach isn't about deprivation. It's about conscious choices. When you spend on things that matter, those purchases feel more satisfying. Vicki Robbins' followers report that aligning spending with values reduces buyer's remorse by up to 40% and increases savings rates naturally. Consider the 24-hour rule for non-essential purchases over $50. This simple pause often reveals whether you're buying from genuine desire or impulse. Tiffany Aliche suggests asking 3 questions. Do I need this? Does this reflect my values? Can I afford this without compromising my goals? The transformation happens gradually but powerfully. As your spending aligns with your values, money stress decreases because every dollar has purpose. You'll find yourself naturally spending less on things that don't matter and feeling more confident about purchases that do. This intentional approach creates both financial and emotional rewards that compound over time. Part 3. Small wins that build big confidence. When Dave Ramsey first suggested celebrating the payoff of a $500 credit card with the same enthusiasm as a $50,000 milestone, skeptics called it silly. Research from Harvard Business School later validated his instinct. People who acknowledge small financial victories are 40% more likely to achieve their larger money goals than those who only focus on the finish line. The psychology behind small wins operates like compound interest for your confidence. Each minor achievement releases dopamine, the same neurotransmitter that drives addiction, except this time it's working in your favor. When Sarah Chen paid off her first $1,200 credit card in 2019, she celebrated by sharing the news with 3 friends. That simple act of recognition motivated her to tackle her remaining $23,000 debt within 18 months. Thomas Stanley's research for The Millionaire Next Door revealed that wealthy individuals consistently tracked and celebrated incremental progress. They understood that motivation isn't a constant resource. It needs regular refueling through recognition. A software engineer from Austin discovered this principle accidentally when he started posting monthly savings updates on social media. The positive feedback from friends and family transformed what felt like a tedious process into something genuinely exciting. Small victories create what behavioral economists call progress momentum. J.L. Collins advocates for celebrating when your investment account first hits $1,000, then $5,000, then $10,000. Each milestone proves your system works, making the next goal feel achievable rather than overwhelming. This approach explains why Ramit Sethi's students who celebrate their first automated $25 monthly investment often increase their contributions within 6 months. The celebration doesn't require expensive rewards. Tiffany Aliche recommends free activities that acknowledge effort, calling someone who believes in your goals, taking a photo of your account balance, or simply writing down how the achievement makes you feel. One teacher from Oregon created a win jar, where she dropped a note describing each financial victory. Reading through accumulated wins during challenging moments restored her motivation instantly. Consider the alternative approach many people take, waiting until they've eliminated all debt or saved their full emergency fund before feeling proud. This strategy often leads to abandonment because the gap between current reality and ultimate goal feels insurmountable. The most successful people in Stanley's studies treated every $100 in additional savings as proof their strategy was working. What small financial win could you celebrate today? Perhaps you've gone a week without buying coffee, added $50 to savings, or simply opened that investment account you've been postponing. These moments deserve recognition because they represent something more significant than their dollar value. They prove you can change your relationship with money one small victory at a time. Part 4. Staying on track when life happens. When Ramit Sethi was building his financial education company, he discovered something that changed how he thought about money management forever. During the 2008 financial crisis, his most successful students weren't those with the highest incomes or the most detailed spreadsheets. They were the ones who had built flexibility into their financial systems and maintained their core habits, even when everything seemed to fall apart. Life has a way of testing your financial resolve, precisely when you feel most confident. The car breaks down the week after you finally build your emergency fund. A family member needs help during your most aggressive debt payoff phase. Your industry faces unexpected layoffs just as you're hitting your stride with investing. These moments don't signal failure in your financial plan. They reveal whether you've built a system that can bend without breaking. The most resilient money managers follow what Dave Ramsey calls the baby steps with buffers approach. Instead of rigidly pursuing one financial goal, they create small cushions at each level. Even while paying off debt aggressively, they maintain a $1,000 starter emergency fund. When building their full emergency fund, they continue modest debt payments rather than stopping entirely. This creates multiple safety nets rather than putting all resources toward a single objective. Morgan Housel's research shows that people who maintain long-term financial success share one critical trait: they plan for their plans to change. They set aside what he terms flexibility money. Funds earmarked not for specific goals, but for life's inevitable curveballs. This isn't pessimism. It's recognizing that even good changes like job promotions or family growth require financial adjustments. When setbacks occur, the instinct is often to abandon financial discipline entirely. Tiffany Aliche calls this financial perfectionism paralysis. Missing 1 month of investing doesn't mean stopping forever. Overspending during a crisis doesn't negate previous progress. The key is implementing what she terms financial triage, quickly identifying which habits to maintain, which to temporarily pause, and which to modify. Jean Chatzky's studies of financially resilient individuals reveal they regularly practice plan reassessment sessions. Every 6 months, they review their financial goals against their current reality. Has income changed? Have priorities shifted? Are timeline expectations still realistic? This isn't admitting defeat. It's staying connected to your actual circumstances rather than clinging to outdated assumptions. The most powerful tool during challenging periods is self-compassion combined with systematic thinking. J.L. Collins emphasizes that markets crash, jobs disappear, and health issues arise. But these temporary setbacks don't change the fundamental principles of building wealth. Your emergency fund may shrink, but the habit of saving remains. Investment contributions might decrease, but the automatic transfer continues, even at reduced amounts. Building financial resilience means accepting that perfect execution is impossible while maintaining commitment to the underlying system. Your financial plan should be sturdy enough to survive life's storms, yet flexible enough to adapt to its changing seasons. Chapter 5. Your Financial Future, Bright and Clear. Part 1. Automate to Liberate. When John D. Rockefeller built his oil empire, he famously said that paying bills manually was like bleeding money through 1,000 tiny cuts. Today, research shows that the average person spends 8 hours monthly managing routine financial tasks, time that could be invested in wealth-building activities instead. The most successful wealth builders treat their finances like a well-oiled machine. They set up systems once and let compound interest work while they focus on earning more money or enjoying life. This isn't about being lazy, it's about being strategic. When J.P. Morgan Chase studied customer behavior in 2019, they found that people who automated their savings saved 73% more than those who relied on willpower alone. Start with the basics. Automated bill payments. Late fees average $35 per incident, and the Federal Reserve reports that Americans pay over $12 billion annually in avoidable late charges. Set up automatic payments for all fixed expenses: rent, utilities, insurance, and minimum debt payments. This eliminates the mental bandwidth required to remember due dates and prevents costly mistakes. Next, automate your savings before you can spend the money. Ramit Sethi calls this paying yourself first, and the concept transforms saving from a daily decision into a background process. Open a high-yield savings account separate from your checking account and schedule automatic transfers the day after your paycheck arrives. Even $100 monthly becomes $1,200 annually without a single conscious decision. Investment automation proves even more powerful. Charles Schwab's research reveals that investors who use automatic investing earn returns 3% higher annually than those who invest sporadically. Dollar-cost averaging through automatic investments removes emotion from the equation. Whether markets rise or fall, your money keeps working. Vanguard found that investors who automated their contributions were 40% more likely to stay invested during market downturns. The psychological benefits matter as much as the financial ones. Decision fatigue researcher Roy Baumeister discovered that people make roughly 35,000 decisions daily. Each financial choice, should I transfer money to savings today? Is this bill due now? Drains mental energy that could fuel career advancement or creative pursuits. Technology makes this effortless. Most banks offer free automated transfers, and apps like Acorns round up purchases to invest spare change. Employer 401k plans represent the ultimate automation, deducting contributions before money hits your checking account. Consider automation as hiring a reliable financial assistant who never takes vacation days. This assistant pays bills on time, saves consistently, and invests regularly while you sleep. The result? You gain mental freedom to focus on increasing your income and building the life you want, knowing your financial foundation grows stronger each month without constant oversight. Part 2. Celebrating Milestones and Recalibrating. When Oprah Winfrey first earned her $1 million salary in 1986, she didn't throw a lavish party or buy a sports car. Instead, she sat quietly in her apartment, reflecting on the journey that brought her from poverty to prosperity. This moment of pause and gratitude became a defining practice that she credits with maintaining both her wealth and well-being throughout her career. Most people rush past their financial victories like sprinters who forget to look back at the distance they've covered. Yet, research from Harvard Business School shows that individuals who regularly celebrate financial milestones are 31% more likely to achieve their next goal compared to those who immediately move to the next target without reflection. Consider the story of Dave Ramsey's debt-free community. When families complete his Baby Steps program, they don't simply update their spreadsheets and move on. They ring a bell, take photos, and share their victory with thousands of others. This celebration serves a deeper purpose than feel-good moments. Neuroscience reveals that acknowledging achievements releases dopamine, creating positive associations with financial discipline that fuel future motivation. But celebration without recalibration becomes hollow ritual. Life changes, and your financial plan must evolve accordingly. Thomas Stanley's research in The Millionaire Next Door found that wealthy individuals review and adjust their financial strategies every 6 months, treating these sessions as essential maintenance rather than optional check-ins. Take Sarah, a software engineer who automated her savings at age 25 with dreams of early retirement. By 35, she had accumulated substantial wealth, but also gotten married and had 2 children. Her original plan needed dramatic revision. The monthly budget that once prioritized aggressive investing now required allocation for childcare, education savings, and family health insurance. Without this recalibration, she would have either failed to meet her family's current needs or abandoned her long-term goals entirely. The most successful people treat financial planning like GPS navigation. They celebrate reaching each waypoint while simultaneously recalculating the route based on current conditions. This approach prevents both complacency and frustration. Set quarterly review appointments with yourself. During these sessions, acknowledge what you've accomplished, even small wins like paying off a credit card or reaching a savings milestone. Then honestly assess whether your current financial priorities align with your present life situation. Warren Buffett exemplifies this balance. Despite his legendary long-term focus, he regularly adjusts his investment strategy based on changing market conditions and personal circumstances. He celebrates successful investments while remaining flexible enough to change course when necessary. The key lies in maintaining forward momentum while appreciating the progress you've already made. This creates a sustainable cycle where past achievements fuel future ambitions, and ongoing adjustments ensure your financial plan remains relevant to the life you're actually living, not the life you planned years ago. Part 3. Leaving a legacy you're proud of. When Muhammad Yunus started Grameen Bank in 1976, he had $27 in his pocket and an idea that would eventually lift millions from poverty. His approach to wealth creation went far beyond personal accumulation. Instead, he built a financial system designed to create lasting impact for generations. This shift in perspective transforms how we think about money entirely. The wealthy families that maintain their prosperity across generations share a common trait. They view money not as an endpoint, but as a tool for creating something meaningful beyond their own lifetimes. The Rockefeller family exemplifies this approach. After John D. Rockefeller built Standard Oil, subsequent generations focused on philanthropy and impact. Today, their foundation continues funding global health initiatives, environmental conservation, and social justice programs more than a century later. Building wealth with legacy in mind changes your financial decisions immediately. Consider how you structure your investments. Instead of chasing quick returns, you begin evaluating companies based on their long-term sustainability and societal impact. This approach often leads to better financial outcomes. ESG funds, which consider environmental, social, and governance factors, have consistently outperformed traditional indices over the past decade. Your legacy planning extends beyond grand philanthropic gestures. Teaching your children about money management creates generational wealth that compounds over time. Research by Thomas Stanley revealed that millionaire families who actively educate their children about financial responsibility maintain wealth across generations at 3 times the rate of those who don't. Simple practices like involving teenagers in family financial discussions or requiring them to contribute to their college expenses create lasting financial wisdom. The concept of values-based spending becomes crucial when building wealth with purpose. Each financial decision becomes a vote for the world you want to create. When you choose to support local businesses, invest in renewable energy companies, or contribute to education funds, your money works beyond generating returns. It shapes communities and industries in alignment with your values. Creating formal structures for your legacy ensures your intentions survive beyond your lifetime. Setting up education funds for grandchildren, establishing charitable trusts, or even documenting your financial philosophy in writing provides clear direction for future generations. Warren Buffett's annual letters to Berkshire Hathaway shareholders serve this purpose, sharing his investment philosophy and ethical framework with millions worldwide. The most powerful legacies often emerge from addressing problems you've experienced personally. Oprah Winfrey's educational initiatives stem from her own challenging childhood. Her investments in schools and scholarship programs reflect her understanding of education's transformative power. This personal connection ensures authenticity and sustainable commitment to your chosen cause. Planning for legacy doesn't require waiting until you accumulate vast wealth. Starting small with regular charitable contributions or teaching financial literacy to young relatives creates immediate impact while building habits that scale with your growing resources. The compound effect applies to generosity just as powerfully as it applies to investment returns. Part 4. The Never-Ending Journey of Growth. When Sarah Williams graduated from business school in 1998, she thought she had mastered money. She had her budget spreadsheet, investment portfolio, and 5-year plan perfectly mapped out. 25 years later, as a successful entrepreneur and mother of 3, She laughs at her younger self-certainty. Her financial journey has taken unexpected turns through market crashes, career pivots, family emergencies, and opportunities she never could have anticipated. Financial mastery isn't a destination you reach and then forget about. It's more like physical fitness, requiring consistent attention, adaptation to changing circumstances, and evolution as you grow older. The strategies that worked in your 20s need adjustment in your 40s. The risk tolerance you had as a single person shifts when you become responsible for others. The career that seemed stable for decades might disappear due to technological disruption. Consider how Warren Buffett's investment approach has evolved over his 7-decade career. While his core principles remain constant, he's adapted to new industries, technologies, and market conditions. In the 1960s, he focused on undervalued companies. By the 1980s, he shifted toward high-quality businesses with strong competitive advantages. Today, at over 90, he continues learning about artificial intelligence and renewable energy companies. The most successful investors and savers share this trait of intellectual curiosity. They read annual reports, follow economic trends, and remain open to changing their minds when presented with new evidence. Dave Ramsey regularly updates his debt payoff strategies based on changing interest rate environments and consumer behavior patterns. Vicki Robin has modified her Your Money or Your Life approach several times to address inflation, healthcare costs, and gig economy realities. Technology creates both opportunities and challenges that require ongoing education. Cryptocurrency emerged as an asset class that didn't exist 20 years ago. Robo-advisors have democratized professional investment management. Mobile banking has transformed how we save and spend money. Each innovation demands evaluation, not blind adoption or rejection, but thoughtful consideration of how it fits your financial picture. Your learning doesn't need to be formal or expensive. Library books, podcasts during commutes, and annual reviews with financial advisors provide continuous education. The key is maintaining what John Bogle called intellectual humility, recognizing that markets, economies, and personal circumstances change faster than our ability to predict them. Market corrections will test your resolve. New opportunities will tempt you to abandon proven strategies. Life events will force you to recalibrate your priorities. These aren't detours from your financial journey. They are the journey. The people who build lasting wealth understand this fundamental truth and prepare mentally for the inevitable changes ahead. What new financial concept have you avoided learning about because it seemed too complicated? Often, the skills we resist developing become the most valuable tools in our financial toolkit.